all gathered here to salute our armed forces and also our great scientists who are instrumental for the success of the Operation SINDOOR. Their services has to be told to the younger generation and the general people of the country for the manner they have shown the exemplary heroship and also the precise manner they have dealt with this challenge and finishing the agenda within 22 minutes. It's really a great achievement. I don't think there is any parallel in the world. I have no hesitation to say it. Friends, Bharat, that is India, in its long civilization history, has been an abode of spiritual wisdom and cultural greatness. It has been a guiding light to the world and has always been known for its exemplary tolerance and restraint. In our long civilizational journey, India, I underline, please take note, India, that is Bharat, has never attacked or invaded any country in the history. Because we are against this colonial system of thinking and ruling. And we have gone for all this is only for self-protection. And the missiles we are developing is also for Atmanirbharta and self-protection. Because if you go through the history, India was known as Vishwaguru. Students from across the globe, they used to come and learn here. And India's GDP before the invasion by the foreigners was much higher and compared to all other countries. But we Indians, we believe in peaceful coexistence. Share and care is the core of Indian philosophy. Sarve jana sukhino bhavantu. Vasudaika kutumbakam. The entire universe is one family. We must live in harmony. We must live in happiness. We must share our prosperity, our knowledge, our wisdom, whatever it is, with others also, so that everybody is happy. That has been the Indian civilization. That's why the entire world looks towards India with great awe and also admiration. That is the reason. I am pleased today's program, this Akhil Bharatiya Rashtriya Saiksik Mahasangh is working to shape academic discourse and reclaim our civilizational thought and thus contribute to the building of a Vikasit Bharat. Today, we stand here together to pay our tributes to the courage and sacrifice of our brave armed forces and also the great scientists who have provided them the needed wherewithal, including ammunition and sophisticated weapons that are required. Operation SINDOOR marks a new chapter and stands as a momentous landmark in the history of warfare. A meticulously planned strike against terrorism. Our armed forces carried out a decisive, well-coordinated military response to the horrific terror attack orchestrated by Pakistan-backed terrorists at Pahalgam on April 22, 2025, in which 26 innocent tourists were brutally killed in the name of religion. Only the other day, our brave soldiers and paramilitary forces, through Operation Mahadev, neutralized the terrorists who committed the Pahalgam massacre on April 22nd. Hats off to them. Operation SINDOOR, launched in the early hours of May 7, through coordinated strikes at 9 major terrorist bases or camps across Pakistan, targeting locations deep inside enemy territory and Pakistani-occupied Kashmir also. More than 100 dangerous terrorists, including several key figures who had openly plotted against Bharat over many years, were effectively and swiftly neutralized in Operation Sindoor. Bharat set a new normal through these precious strikes under Operation Sindoor by declaring that any future act of terror against India would be seen as an act of war. That is the warning we have given. Spokesperson of armed forces also pointed out at press briefings that our response was non-excretory in nature, and Bharat's punitive strikes were strategically aimed at terrorist networks and infrastructure. On a parallel note, suspension of the one-sided suspension of the one-sided Indus Water Treaty was another decisive blow to the enemy, signaling India's intention to punish sponsors of terrorism. The Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Bhai Modi, rightly observed that water and blood cannot flow together. This has to be understood by them. My dear friends, the world woke up to an India which conducted a precise military operation that was a model of strategic restraint. The Indian Air Force completed the mission in just 23 minutes, bypassing and jamming the air defense of the enemy, demonstrating the complete dominance of the skies. Operation Sindoor targeted terrorist camps with precision, avoiding civilian casualties and ensuring minimum collateral damage. This was made possible by our scientists. The knowledge they have given, the research they have done has been very useful in search of our enemies' locations. We have showcased technological evolution and strength, displaying and also deploying advanced indigenous technology, including guided munitions, long-range drones, and sophisticated electronic warfare systems. Operation Sindoor is a study in impeccable coordination between the three wings of the defense forces, Army, Navy, and Air Force. Bharat demonstrated to the world the strength of its multi-layered air defense systems, which neutralized drone and missile attacks from the enemy. Our restrained and measured response was widely appreciated by India's partners across the world as an act of self-defense in its fight against terrorism. All the countries included the USA, UK, Israel, EU, UAE, and Saudi Arabia. And in fact, out of the 193 countries of the United Nations, only 3 countries issued statements in support of Pakistan, while all other countries, whether they belong to Quad, BRICS, or EU, or elsewhere in the world, supported Bharat overwhelmingly. Our armed forces, through this process and strategic military operation, not only struck a severe blow to terrorist infrastructure across the border, destroying the terrorist hideouts and infrastructure, but also fulfilled the oath of Sindoor. It is for this resolute response carried out by our defense forces that 140 crore Indians stand collectively with them and applaud their valiant efforts. Pakistan has never imagined that terror headquarters at Bhavalpur and Murdike would ever be struck, and yet Bharat reduced them to rubble. My dear friends, another noteworthy achievements of the operation is that Bharat effectively called Pakistan's nuclear bluff, exposing that its threats are empty and that nuclear blackmail will no longer work against a strong, united Bharat. Our precision strikes carried out deep inside enemy territory destroyed air-base assets of Pakistan and caused severe damage which they never imagined. Operation Sindoor was also a powerful demonstration of Atmanirbhar Bharat. Our technological capability, as seen through the deployment of Made in India drones and Made in India missiles, which exposed the weakness of the enemy's defense system. This journey of self-reliance began in 2014, as we all know, and has acquired accelerated strength and pace with each passing year. Today, Atmanirbhar Bharat is moving rapidly in the defense sector, with the defense budget which has nearly tripled in the past decade. Another spin-off of this powerful demonstration of our defense might is that the demand of Indian defense systems is the way it's steadily boosting. This will in turn give an impetus to the domestic industries, mainly MSMEs. We also generate immense employment opportunities. My dear friends, what we are observing today is something surprising. Some of the countries of so-called democratic countries, developed countries, they indirectly is encouraging our neighbor. We always want to be friendly with all, including our traveling neighbor. Because as late Atal Bihari Vajpayee said, we can change our friends, but we can't change our neighbors. But we have to change their mindset. We have to make them to understand that this sort of terror will never be accepted, because that has become a state policy of the government. There is no democracy. They are not answerable to anybody. They have almost become a rogue nation and then doing all sorts of these things, disturbing the world peace. Peace is the prerequisite for progress. If you have tension, you cannot pay attention and have retention towards the development. You will be doing only pretension. This is what is being done by certain people and certain countries. I hope that everybody realizes that they must all come together, cooperate with each other for a peaceful coexistence, for a developed world. You need to have peace. We need to put an end to these wars that are happening in different parts of the world. They have no meaning. They have no relevance in so-called advanced civilization now. We must talk to each other, resolve issues. And even if you agree to disagree on a point also, there should not be resorting to sort of wars or any forceful attack on the rivals. That should be the order of the day, because we people want a peaceful world, peaceful country, peaceful society. That being the case, the so-called big powers, or some of them they call themselves as superpowers, and then they think they are only great. But they must understand India is not lagging behind. India is, after reaching the 4th largest economy in the world, is marching towards the 3rd largest economy in the world. Our youngsters, our boys, worldwide, now many of the multinational companies are now led by our Indians, because there is talent in this land. India, we are moving towards self-reliant Bharat, Atmanirbhar Bharat. The only thing we can, not only hailing these armed forces or scientists, our duty for all the citizens is